What if the reason she's not falling for you isn't because you're not attractive enough, but because you're saying the same safe, forgettable compliments every other guy is using? Most compliments fail not because they're wrong, but because they're painfully predictable and carry almost no emotional weight. They sound nice on the surface, but they don't create any real impact. When a woman hears the same phrases over and over again, "You're beautiful," "You're cute," "You look amazing," they stop feeling like genuine expressions and start feeling like background noise. It's not that she doesn't appreciate them at all, it's that they don't stand out. They don't make her feel anything new. Think about it. If someone hears the same compliment 10, 20, or even 100 times, it loses its value. It becomes expected. And anything expected rarely creates attraction. Attraction thrives on emotional spikes, moments that feel different, slightly unexpected, and engaging. A predictable compliment does the opposite. It keeps everything flat, safe, and forgettable. Low-value compliments also tend to focus only on the obvious. They highlight what everyone can already see. Physical appearance is the easiest thing to notice, so most people default to it. But when you only compliment what's visible to everyone, you're not showing any depth of perception. You're not revealing anything unique about how you see her. And without that uniqueness, there's no reason for her to feel a stronger connection to you than to anyone else who says the same thing. Another reason these compliments fail is that they often come from a place of seeking approval rather than expressing genuine observation. There's a subtle difference, but it changes everything. When a compliment is given with the hope of getting something back, attention, validation, or interest, it carries a certain energy. It feels like a transaction. And people can sense that, even if they can't explain it. It creates pressure instead of intrigue. On the other hand, a high-value compliment comes from certainty and individuality. It's specific, a little unexpected, and rooted in something deeper than surface-level traits. It might highlight her behavior, her mindset, or a subtle detail that most people would overlook. This kind of compliment makes her pause for a moment because it feels personal. It feels like you're actually paying attention. There's also an element of risk in better compliments. Not risk in a negative sense, but in the sense that you're willing to say something different instead of playing it safe. Safe compliments are easy, but they don't move anything forward. When you step slightly outside that comfort zone, you create curiosity. And curiosity is far more powerful than simple approval. In the end, the problem isn't that compliments don't work, it's that most people use them in a way that strips them of their power. When every word sounds the same, it stops meaning anything. But when a compliment feels rare, thoughtful, and a little unexpected, it does something completely different. It sticks. It lingers. And most importantly, it makes her see you differently from everyone else. Emotional impact matters far more than the actual words you use, because people don't remember sentences. They remember how those sentences made them feel. You could say something simple, even ordinary, but if it creates a strong emotional reaction, it instantly becomes memorable. On the other hand, you could craft the perfect compliment with impressive wording, but if it doesn't trigger any feeling, it disappears just as quickly as it was spoken. This is where most people get it wrong. They focus too much on finding the right words, thinking there's some magical phrase that guarantees attraction. But attraction isn't built on vocabulary, it's built on emotional experience. The words are just a vehicle. What truly matters is the energy behind them, the timing, the tone, and the intention. All of these elements combine to create a feeling, and that feeling is what stays with her. Think about a moment when someone said something to you that stuck. Chances are, it wasn't because the sentence itself was extraordinary. It was because it made you feel seen, understood, surprised, or even slightly challenged. That emotional shift is what gave the words their power. Without that shift, the same sentence would have meant nothing. When you focus on emotional impact, your approach changes completely. Instead of trying to impress, you start trying to connect. Instead of saying what sounds nice, you say what feels real and slightly unexpected. This is what creates depth. A compliment that triggers emotion makes her pause, think, and engage with you on a deeper level. It pulls her out of autopilot and into the moment. Tone plays a huge role in this. The exact same words can feel completely different depending on how they're delivered. A confident, calm tone can make even a simple statement feel meaningful. But if your voice carries hesitation or neediness, even a strong compliment loses its effect. It starts to feel uncertain, like you don't fully believe what you're saying. And when there's no certainty, there's no emotional weight. Timing is another factor that amplifies emotional impact. Saying the right thing at the wrong moment can make it fall flat, while saying something subtle at just the right time can create a powerful reaction. It's about being present and aware, not just repeating lines. When your words align with the moment, they feel natural and authentic, and that authenticity is what people respond to. There's also something important about restraint. Emotional impact often comes from what you don't say as much as what you do say. Leaving a little space, a little mystery, allows her mind to fill in the gaps. And when she starts thinking about what you meant, she becomes more invested in the interaction. That's where real attraction begins to build. At the end of the day, words are just tools. They only become powerful when they carry emotion. If you shift your focus from trying to say the right thing to creating the right feeling, everything changes. Your compliments stop sounding rehearsed and start feeling genuine. And that genuine emotional impact is what makes someone remember you long after the conversation is over. Mystery and specificity might seem like opposites, but together they create one of the strongest pulls in attraction. Most people lean too far in one direction. They're either too vague and forgettable or too detailed and predictable. The real power comes from blending the two in a way that keeps her curious while making her feel uniquely seen. Mystery is what sparks interest. It creates that small moment of uncertainty that makes someone lean in instead of pulling away. When everything is explained too clearly, there's nothing left to discover. The interaction becomes flat, almost mechanical. But when you leave just enough unsaid, you open a loop in her mind. She starts wondering what you meant, why you said it, and what you see in her that others don't. That curiosity is what keeps the conversation alive even after it ends. At the same time, mystery alone isn't enough. If you're too vague, your words lose meaning. Saying something like, "You're interesting," doesn't create attraction, it creates confusion. It's empty because it could apply to anyone. This is where specificity comes in. Specificity gives your words weight. It shows that you're not just talking, you're observing. You're paying attention to details that others miss, and that instantly separates you from the crowd. When you combine mystery with specificity, something different happens. You might say, "There's something about the way you react to things, it's not what I expected." Now, there's a specific observation, her reactions, but it's wrapped in mystery because you didn't fully explain it. That balance is what pulls her in. It feels personal, but it also invites her to explore your perspective. This dynamic works because it mirrors how attraction naturally develops. People are drawn to what they can't fully figure out, but they stay interested when they feel there's something real beneath the surface. Mystery creates the initial spark, while specificity builds the connection. Without mystery, there's no intrigue. Without specificity, there's no depth. Another important part of this is restraint. Most people talk too much, especially when they're trying to impress someone. They over-explain their thoughts, hoping to be understood. But in doing so, they remove all tension. When everything is laid out clearly, there's no room for curiosity. Holding back slightly, not in a manipulative way, but in a controlled, confident way, allows the other person to engage more actively in the interaction. Specificity also makes your compliments feel rare. Instead of repeating common phrases, you're pointing out something that feels tailored to her. It could be the way she expresses herself, the way she handles situations, or even a subtle detail in her behavior. When she realizes that you're noticing things others overlook, it creates a sense of exclusivity. And that feeling is deeply attractive because it makes the interaction feel different from all the others she experiences. In the end, attraction isn't about saying more. It's about saying the right amount in the right way. Mystery keeps her thinking about you, while specificity makes her feel understood. When you blend the two, your words stop being just words. They become an experience, one that lingers in her mind and makes her want to come back for more. Confidence in delivery is often the hidden factor that determines whether a compliment lands with impact or falls completely flat. The words themselves matter far less than the way they are expressed. You can say something simple, even ordinary, but if it's delivered with calm certainty, it carries weight. On the other hand, even the most well-crafted compliment can lose all meaning if it's spoken with hesitation, nervousness, or a need for approval. What makes confidence so powerful is the message it sends beneath the surface. When you deliver a compliment with ease and composure, it signals that you believe what you're saying. There's no second guessing, no subtle asking for validation in return. It feels grounded. And that grounded energy is what makes the other person take your words seriously. It creates trust in your perception. In contrast, when confidence is missing, the compliment starts to feel uncertain. Small things like a shaky tone, over-explaining, or rushing your words can completely change how it's received. Instead of feeling like a genuine observation, it can come across as if you're trying too hard or hoping for a positive reaction. That underlying neediness weakens the entire interaction. People may not consciously analyze it, but they feel it. Confidence also creates emotional safety. When someone speaks with calm assurance, it makes the moment feel stable and real. There's no pressure attached, no hidden agenda. It feels like you're simply expressing what you see without expecting anything in return. That lack of pressure is surprisingly attractive because it allows the other person to relax and respond naturally instead of feeling like they're being pulled into a performance. Another key part of confident delivery is pacing. Confident people don't rush. They take their time, they pause naturally, and they allow their words to breathe. This gives the compliment space to land. When you speak too quickly, it often feels like you're trying to get it out rather than truly communicate it. Slowing down, even slightly, changes the entire dynamic. It shows that you're comfortable in the moment. Eye contact and body language also amplify confidence. A steady gaze, relaxed posture, and controlled movements reinforce what your words are saying. Without them, even strong words can feel disconnected. Confidence isn't just heard, it's seen. It's the alignment between what you say and how you present yourself while saying it. There's also a subtle but important mindset behind confident delivery: detachment from the outcome. When you're not overly concerned about how the compliment will be received, you naturally come across as more authentic. You're not trying to win approval or force a reaction. You're simply sharing your perspective. And that authenticity is what makes your words feel real instead of rehearsed. Ultimately, a compliment is only as strong as the energy behind it. Words are just the surface layer. Confidence is what gives them depth, clarity, and impact. When you focus on how you say something rather than just what you say, you shift the entire experience. Your compliments stop feeling like lines and start feeling like genuine expressions, and that's what truly makes them powerful. The right compliment goes beyond admiration. It creates a feeling of being truly seen. And that difference is everything. Admiration is easy. It's surface level. It focuses on what's obvious, looks, style, or anything that can be noticed in a few seconds. But being seen touches something deeper. It reaches into who she is, not just what she presents to the world. When a woman feels admired, she may appreciate it, but it doesn't stay with her for long. She's heard it before. It's familiar, expected, and often repeated by many people. But when she feels seen, it creates a pause. It makes her think, wait, how did he notice that? That moment of surprise is powerful because it breaks the pattern of everything she's used to hearing. To make someone feel seen, your attention has to go beyond the surface. It's about picking up on the small, often overlooked details: how she expresses herself, how she reacts in certain situations, the energy she brings into a room. These are things most people miss because they're too focused on what's obvious. When you notice these subtleties, it shows that you're present, aware, and genuinely engaged. There's also an emotional layer to this. Feeling seen isn't just about being observed, it's about being understood. When your words reflect something she recognizes in herself, especially something she values but rarely hears acknowledged, it creates a deeper connection. It feels personal, it feels real. And that's what makes it stand out from every generic compliment she's received before. Another important aspect is authenticity. You can't fake making someone feel seen. If your words aren't grounded in genuine observation, they'll feel empty, no matter how well they're phrased. People can sense when something is forced. But when your compliment comes from a real moment of noticing something unique about her, it carries a different kind of weight. It doesn't feel like you're trying. It feels like you're simply expressing what you've already understood. Timing also plays a role here. The right compliment delivered in the right moment amplifies its impact. It might come after you've observed her in a certain situation or noticed a pattern in her behavior. When your words align with something she just did or expressed, it reinforces the feeling that you're paying attention in real time. That immediacy makes it more powerful. There's also a quiet confidence in compliments that makes someone feel seen. They're not loud or exaggerated. They're often simple, but precise. And that precision is what gives them depth. You're not trying to impress, you're reflecting. You're holding up a mirror to something meaningful about her, and that's what creates the emotional connection. In the end, admiration can make someone smile, but being seen makes them remember. It creates a sense of closeness that goes beyond words. When you shift your focus from praising what's obvious to understanding what's meaningful, your compliments stop being ordinary. They become something rare, something that lingers, something that resonates, and something that truly sets you apart. There's a silent difference between a compliment that makes her smile politely and one that lingers in her mind long after you've walked away. Most men never learn that difference. They play it safe. They say what sounds nice instead of what feels powerful. And because of that, they blend in. But attraction isn't built on safe words. It's built on emotional spikes, curiosity, and a sense that you see something in her that others don't. Now listen closely. The first type of compliment she can't resist is the one that challenges her identity in a good way. Not attacking, not criticizing, but making her pause for a second. Instead of telling her she's beautiful, which she hears all the time, you say something like, "You don't seem like someone who lets people get too close easily." That's not just a compliment, it's an observation. It pulls her in because now she feels understood on a deeper level. And more importantly, she feels different around you. Women are drawn to men who notice what others overlook. You're not praising her surface, you're touching her personality. The second type is the compliment that creates curiosity about how you see her. This is where most guys fail because they over-explain. They say too much, and in doing so, they kill the tension. Instead, you keep it minimal, almost unfinished. "There's something about you that's a little dangerous." Then you stop. Let her ask, "What do you mean?" Now she's invested. Now she's chasing your perspective. Attraction grows when she's trying to understand you, not when you're trying to impress her. The power is in what you don't say. And the third type, this is the one that hits emotionally. It's when you compliment something she secretly values about herself but rarely hears acknowledged. Not her looks, not her style, but her energy. "You have a calming presence." It's rare. That kind of statement goes deeper than surface-level attraction. It makes her feel safe, special, and unique all at once. And when a woman feels that around you, she starts associating you with comfort and emotional connection, which is where real attraction begins. But here's the truth most people ignore. It's not just the words. It's how you say them. If your voice is unsure, if your energy is seeking approval, even the best compliment will fall flat. Confidence isn't loud, it's relaxed, certain, and detached from the outcome. You're not saying these things to win her over. You're saying them because that's genuinely what you see. And that's what separates you from everyone else.